Hello, hello, hello. I am feeling very, very bummed out and sad, and I have trouble breathing. I have a lot of trouble breathing, and I want to make a sad video, and I want to talk about what's going on emotionally in my life right now, and I want to lay all of this out on the table as good as I can and sort it all out and become really clear about this, how I feel, what I need, what I see in other people also. And we came back yesterday afternoon, and I was exhausted as I always am when we come back to this house. It's a huge ordeal, everything. And with my mental illness that I have, everything in my life is a huge ordeal. Everything, including washing dishes and laundry, and everything is a huge ordeal. Taking a shower is a huge ordeal. I don't know if I ever talked about this before like this, but taking a shower for me, when I have to do a decontamination shower, I know that sounds funny and everything, but it's not funny at all, okay? The decontamination shower takes me about an hour. I use up the entire hot water tank in this house and the other. Oh, that reminds me. The water filter has to be replaced. I have to tell Paul. Okay? Because last night when I took a shower, at the end of the shower, the water pressure was very low. And we already use water-saving shower heads. Like extreme water-saving shower heads. Not just the commercial ones, or the ones you buy, like, is it water saving or whatever, eco-friendly? No, we use like extra water saving shower heads that have to be screwed onto a PVC pipe, which has to be screwed onto the nozzle and to the end of the hose, and then use that and put that into the shower holder thing there that holds it up. And it's all very, very difficult. Everything is very difficult. And then the water pressure goes down, and then there's almost no water coming out, but at least I got enough water to rinse myself. And I rinse for a very long time, so I have to rinse and rinse and rinse and rinse after using shampoo and conditioner, because I don't want shampoo and conditioner residue to stay on my body or hair, because I don't know what kind of chemicals are in it. So I know I end up laughing about it. I laugh about all of this also at the same time. See, that's the thing. It's like laughing, crying, laughing, crying, laughing, crying. Back and forth all the time. Feel sorry for myself. I can get into enormous self-pity modes. Oh my gosh. I mean, I can reach self-pity moods that are unheard of. I don't think anyone else in the world gets into that kind of stuff, So, and then when I get that overwhelmed with everything is too much, right? And then fast dog and everything, I can barely handle a European Basset-Hound. That's just barely, okay? So when I decided to get an American Bully or Staffy, I don't know, the American Bullies are Staffy dogs. I don't know what he really is. American Bully, Stuffy, whatever. But they're pretty much the same. But those are enormously, enormously strong dogs. Okay, they have muscles you cannot even imagine. They fly through the air. They sprint like deer. All of this is way over my head. Okay, and yet I am infinitely grateful for this baby dog and for this friendship, for this love. He is my nurse. He is there for me at all times. He barely knew me. We picked him up from the animal shelter. I was already exhausted that day. He would come over, give me comfort, like he has known me forever. I want to lay all of this on the table as good as I can. I lay my cards on the table. I have nothing to hide from the public. I'm not afraid of showing myself in a vulnerable state, but when it comes to the chat rooms, I am way too vulnerable for that. I am so vulnerable. And I'm not afraid to tell you that I'm vulnerable in writing or in my videos. Because I'm radically honest to myself, I'm radically honest to other people, I'm radically honest to everyone. So unless the Gestapo comes to your door and says, where's your husband? We want to butcher him. Then I will lie, of course. I have to in emergency, right? But other than that, but that's not what, I don't consider that lying. So that's self-protection. And I know that the haters, when they lie, they think they're doing it out of self-protection. Or it's an unconscious process, even. I've seen that a lot. So I'm not even with the judge hammer coming after them and saying, you know, your dishonest lifestyle, it sucks, man. You make everyone else miserable. Well, yeah, you are, right, you are. But I'm not judging you like a judge from a higher court or from whatever. I'm not your queen with the judge hammer saying you shall be judge hammered and then incarcerated or whatever. That's what you do with me, okay? But again, if I look at that picture from the sky perspective, I can see where you're coming from, okay? You're coming from the feeling of you feel wronged, okay? You feel like also your childhood, your whole childhood, you have a severe trauma. Yeah. Be gentle now, gentle. Gentle. Okay. You have a childhood trauma, and I see that, and you're acting it out with your ego. You want to feel, and that this is happening to almost all men in the world, men in particular. There's only a few women that will be affected by that, and those are gay or have a lot of testosterone. I don't know, you know. That's what I observe. Okay. So the women like myself that have very high level estrogen, they don't have any problems showing themselves in a vulnerable state. So I cannot even imagine, I can't even wrap my head around how that must be to be a man, you know, with high testosterone levels. I cannot even imagine. It must be hell. because that attaches itself to the self-image that you have about yourself. You carry that self-image, you identify yourself with that hormonally, and that it also attaches itself then to the ego and to the entire social structure of society, where people still have this idea they need to be, in order to be seen as masculine, they need to be bad, or all this the entire spectrum. They need to be all of this. They need to be dominating women, this old school idea, which is completely outdated. Okay. A man who feels completely safe within himself doesn't need to do that. Okay. You feel unsafe because of your childhood. Robert Irwin does not need to behave like this. Okay. I tell you that. I don't even know Robert Irwin, but I can just tell from what I see. I saw a couple of videos where he's in, the way he talks, the way he addresses issues. He's an animal rights activist, he's an environmentalist, he's deeply compassionate. He had a super childhood, and he's also an angel level. So he got he got everything. That everything is clear. Okay. And he's extremely good looking and strong, naturally muscular and all of that, and powerful, and he knows that, and there's no need for him to ever be abusive to a woman. Okay. So, but then, I see then people get jealous, or they all try to, I see that on the internet all the time. People are jealous of Bindi and Robert. They're very jealous, and because they have it all. They have everything. Some people have it all. Okay. I don't. Okay. I know there are some people that are very mad that I grew up with money and being spoiled and all of that. My brother and I. Okay. They think no, they have it easy. No. We do not have it easy. Not at all. I'm not going to talk about my brother in this video, but I'm just going to talk about my own pain and my suffering here. And my pain and suffering is so intense. My psychological suffering is so intense that I have now overdosed 6 times. Okay. So the day before yesterday was the 6th time that I overdosed in a very reckless way, and it could have stopped my heart. Okay, but I already built up some kind of resistance to it. You can get used to stuff. You can build up a resistance. You can become way more tolerant to higher amounts. So although Pieris japonica is not addictive at all. Okay, so not even physically. There's no addiction, no habit forming. Some substances are extremely habit forming. This one is not. Paul thinks I'm addicted to it. No, I can also neither psychologically nor physically. If I don't take it, I can also sleep well, if I'm relaxed and all of that. And if I'm hyper agitated, if I take Pieris japonica, then I have to take even more because lower amounts don't work when I'm hyper agitated, of course. But I can also take chamomile tea and that helps as well. But the Pieris japonica not only has a calming effect on the nervous system, it has all kinds of health beneficial effects. It's like a supplement, actually. So, but I overdosed on it because I felt like, and that was more unconscious, like it was in 2013. But in 2013, I had not built up a resistance to it. I had made a really strong concoction. And that caused me to see the blue god in the middle of the room. I'm not making this up. This is the truth. And I saw a flickering sun in the center of this living room at night. And in the center of the sun was the blue god eye. The rectangular, I don't know where, there's one in the corner there, and there are two on the wall over there. I don't know if you can see the eye, but a rectangular cubic eye with a rectangular cubic pupil in the middle. Very rudimentary, very schematic way of painting, particularly when the shape becomes abstract, as in that green formation. So, but the head is not in the picture, so you can't really see the eye. So, and Papa Dog and Paul have their eyes squinty, so, and those are more like depiction type of drawings, but not as schematic as this formation there. So when it becomes more abstract, it becomes more schematic like this. So, but in that hallucination, I saw the exact eye of the blue god, the way I painted, in that exact shape, appearing in the middle of that sun. So then people could probably argue you projected that into it because you have that image always in your head and you project that into it. Someone else might say, but maybe it's also there in our environment. It's there. And when you loosen up that filter in your limbic system, they call it, Dr. Hinderk Emrich calls it the discrimination ribbon, which is a filter that filters out information from the outside, stimuli that come into the retina. Retina, eye perception. We don't see everything that's there because of the discrimination ribbon. Okay, this is a brain filter. It's an actual formation in the brain. It's a brain filter that filters out information from your outside environment. That means when we loosen that filter up with whatever, that could all kinds of things loosen that up. An accident that can cause brain damage, that can loosen that up through damage or through toxicity or through lack of sleep or through shock, PTSD, severe, something like that, schizophrenia, or hallucinogenic substances, of course. And that loosens it up. And then we have so-called hallucinations. People attributed that to an internal projection onto the outside. So basically we are confabulating. We are I don't know the word. We are making this our brains fabricate that. That's what people used to think, okay? But it's not that way, okay? And that's the shocking part of it. This is so shocking that most people don't want. That's a hard pill to swallow, because that tells us the world of metaphysics is out there, okay? So there are things that are constantly churning and going on in the outside of us that we don't perceive, and we don't perceive it because of that discrimination ribbon. And then it gets much more intense also in terms of psychological discriminating. That happens too. That goes into anosognosia and those kind of areas where people go into a state of denial, where they actually see something but they deny it that they see it. Those are very unconscious processes. And because of all of that, I cannot judge you with a judge hammer, okay? I cannot judge anyone with a judge hammer. Not even the wildest, bath-salt, crazy, batshit psychopath that's out there, okay? Someone who bites someone's head off, or on the street, or face, or whatever. I've heard all of that. That's because of severe acid kind of drugs that are etching away their brains. And they have so much hatred inside of them that comes out then. And they see someone who reminds them of someone else that their entire life they hated them because their parents hated those people, and so on. We can inherit race prejudice, race prejudice and this is also politically incorrect, but this is a fact. It's what I see. The race prejudice in every other race other than white is way more extreme than in white people. This is a fact. Okay, right there. You got it here. So now write it on a piece of paper, hang it on the wall. Write down, I am severely race prejudiced, and I want to heal this. Okay, write that down. I want to heal the race prejudice. Write that down. And that means you have to look at yourself, and you have to look at the whole situation. And that's also why I share so much. Because I am not privileged. I do not live a privileged life. I know that a lot of people think that, and they think just because I'm white, I'm privileged. Some people told me that. Some people actually said it in those words. They think because you're white, you're privileged. Automatically, it doesn't matter how harsh your life is. You're white, you're privileged. This is a real big misunderstanding. I see it everywhere on the internet, I see it on Facebook, I see it in the chat rooms. Okay? The comments of people. They hate me because I'm white. You are extremely race prejudiced. Okay? You are extremely racist. Most of you out there. Okay? That's a fact. Okay? So, and then we have this, we have this group versus group effect. One group is extremely hostile to the other, and guess what happens? Then the other group becomes extremely protective or whatever, or hostile or what. Street gangs will go into a perpetual retaliation system. One person retaliates, Maybe just for them looking at them in the wrong way by beating them. Yeah. And then the other ones have to retaliate against that. And then they have to retaliate again. And wars work that way. Okay. The average soldier, the pawn of the corporate agenda, doesn't understand that he's being pawned, okay, off to the military, used for that. And they will let themselves go into a perpetual retaliation loop, okay, which doesn't make the world a better place. It just makes everything more and more suffering and tragic and horrible, okay. And I see that, and it is very distressing for me already. And it's very hard for me to deal with the race prejudice and racism that's addressed towards me. It's very hard for me to deal with the hatred from people that think I'm privileged somehow when I suffer from extreme mental illness, and it's very difficult for me to exist. 6 times I have been overdosing. 6 times I felt like, what the heck? Blue God, take me back. Okay. That's not privileged. Okay. No, people who have it all, those you can call those privileged if you want to, But it's not their fault, if you want to say fault, your fault to be privileged, right? Yeah, your fault. Your privilegedness makes me feel unprivileged. That's just in your head. That's ego. Just because he has money and you have less money doesn't mean that you can never have as much money. I mean, what a wrong mind state that is, right? Or just because he has more muscles than you have doesn't mean that his life is so much better, or that you can't develop muscles, or that you can't become healthy. It doesn't mean that. Okay? Just because they grew up rich and you didn't, doesn't mean they're better than you, or these are all misconceptions in the world. I don't know if I can ever convey this to the public. Even Paul has a bit of that, where he will be going into a rant and talking about how unprivileged he grew up versus me, and then he will always use that comparison, and he'll say, you're so naive because you grew up privileged, and that's why you think everyone is good. So it comes out, his own unempowerment comes out in that way when he talks like that. No, you are privileged, if you want to use that word. You are very lucky and very well off if you have your mental health. Okay. You don't even have to have a lot of money if you have your mental health. And I've seen many people. I have met many people who are financially struggling very much, hardworking, but still huge, strong family bond, happiness, and protecting their kids. I've met Mexicans and South Americans that have a very strong family bond in LA, and that are very sweet. I don't know them in detail. I don't know. They have this thing with retaliation, which is a misconception. Okay, I talked to Paul about this earlier. Okay. So, but they have a very, very close-knitted family unit, And not all of them are doing retaliation. So the ones that do, that's not well. That's not mentally well. Not all of them, of course. There are also many that don't. There are many that are very mellow too, and that are very good with their children. And they don't need a lot of money to have love and have family unit, and where there's trust in the family, and that would never hit their kids or their animals, and where they grow up in a balanced way. So those people exist too, but they are in the minority. They really are. Those I consider lucky. Okay, even if they don't have a lot of money. One family showed me they had a hole in the floor. Okay, and the owner of that apartment building is an Iranian, and West LA is mainly run by Iranians and owned by Iranians, businesses and apartment complexes and so on. And I rented a bachelor apartment from him in the second floor, and this family, they had their apartment right above the garage, and they said, "Here, look." They took the rug off, and there was this huge hole. Their child could fall through that hole. Okay. And I said, "This is infinitely sad and tragic, and how horrible." And it is horrible that the owner was not willing to fix that for them. Okay. And they kind of asked me, it kind of looked like they thought that I knew what to do about this. But I didn't. I don't know how old was I? I was 30 at that time. I didn't know what to do. I didn't study the law. I didn't know. I was studying psychology at Santa Monica College. I didn't know what to do about this. I just thought that's horrible, that they have to live like that. And I gave them my empathy, and I talked to them for one afternoon, and I played with their kids, and I didn't know what to do. I think I mentioned that maybe they can go to rural services, or they can go to someone, to like some social worker, and talk to them. Maybe they can help them. I think I mentioned that to them. I personally didn't know what to do. So maybe they thought I was a lawyer, or I knew a lawyer or something like this. So yeah, but they were still happy. Okay, they had the family unit, and they put that rug back over that, and I guess something else, some furniture over it, to prevent the kids from falling through that hole into the garage, onto someone's car or something, And I saw that happen. And another time was one woman was renting. No, she was a manager. She wasn't paying any rent, but under her bed was a hole that opened up right through the garage wall also, and where she could see it was actually opening up to the big trash dumpster. So I think she had cats. I think one cat one time fell into that trash dumpster, and she went looking for the cat, but got the cat back, so safely. Horrific. That should never be happening, something like this. Some people live like that. Okay, that's horrific. But if they have their mental health, if they don't have OCD, if they don't have schizophrenia or some enormous PTSD from childhood, or some real bad trauma, if they manage their lives, whether they're smart or not. If they have mental health, they have it all. Okay. That's a fact. And I don't. Okay. I'm mentally ill. I'm extremely vulnerable. Other people that have a different type of mental illness, other people that are acting out with sadistic acts, okay, they act it out on other people. They will act it out on the people that don't act it out on other people, or that people like me who are extremely vulnerable. This is infinitely sad. So when I go into a forum that is live and where there's hundreds of people in there, and they see me being different, being compassionate, being vulnerable, they think they can act it out on me. Okay. They think they can say incredibly cruel things to make me suffer. And then I see that the hormones, the testosterone, comes in and makes that worse in those people. Okay, that entire thing. And it's some kind of, and that has to do also with that self-image. This self-image of they need to be in charge. They need to have power over the woman. And if they don't feel like they have total power over the woman, then they may not feel as manly or virile or whatever, so then they feel like, or they feel castrated if they don't feel like they have extreme power over the woman that they want to incarcerate. Okay. And so I see all of these things in people. And it doesn't have to be that way, okay? Someone who's completely empowered doesn't have to be some kind of dictator, making other people's lives miserable, okay? Some kind of tyrant or something. They don't have to. Someone who's empowered does not need to do this. Friedrich Nietzsche talked about this in his books. That's why I want you to read his books. Because read those books really carefully. Nietzsche was an observer of society. And he wrote about it, and people hated him for that, because nobody wants to be seen. Nobody wants someone else to see into the depths of them. Nobody wants that. The ego doesn't want that. But Nietzsche did. And he laid it out on the table, all of that. All that behavior that he observed in people. It's been going on for hundreds of years. Nietzsche was like 150 years ago, but this has been going on for thousands of years, this dynamic, social dynamic, mental dynamic, psychology of people. And then through so-called modernization and civilization, in quotation marks, I can only put that in quotation marks because that's not what I consider to be modern and civilized and well. Okay, it is normal, but it's not well. Normal doesn't mean well. Okay, normal means normal neurotic. Normal doesn't even mean anything anymore. It just means that's the average, okay, society. That doesn't mean good. That doesn't mean you need to use that as a role model yourself onto that, okay? No, absolutely not. It should be a deterrent for you. If you see society the way they act, the extreme neurosis in people should be acting as an anti-role model. We see our parents who are not mini-gods, okay? And we need to look at them critically, and we need to say, I do not want to become like that. They are my anti-role models. Okay? My parents are. Not everything is wrong about them, okay? But there are major things that are so wrong that are serving as a teacher in terms of anti-role model. The teacher that says, do not become like that. Do not end up like that. Okay. I'm not saying this pertains to everyone. There are some sweet parents out there, okay? Of any kind, of any ethnicity. But there are some real brutal ones out there. And then the children think, this is how daddy works, this is how men work, and this is how boy wants to work later on. This is how boy thinks he needs to be in his life. That's dangerous. Okay. No. Your dad is not your God, he's not your mini-God, and he is certainly not your role model. If he dominates your mother, if he dominates your sister, if he has mistresses, if he hoes around, and if his wife even looks at a man, he beats her up. That's not your role model, okay? And this thing, as I talked to Paul earlier, I recognize this is not just in the Middle East. This is happening in South America big time. This is happening all the way around the equator. Okay. All the way around the equator, where the people have a paradise to live in. Okay. Beautiful paradise. And they ruin that paradise by throwing trash in the ocean. There's an island that is for sale in Palawan. It's off the half island of Peninsula, Palawan, Philippine Islands. Okay, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful paradise. But guess what washes onto that coral beach? Trash. And in 20 years there'll be arms and legs washing onto that island. I already see it. My brain already foresees this. And that's why I'm exhausted and worried. And I want to be so badly at the equator, but I am so terrified at the same time. The tyrants have made it miserable. They have turned the equator, the paradise, into a trash dumpster and into a tyrant dictatorship of Islam taking over. The men running their families, beating their women because they are not as strong as they are. They beat them because they can. Then they identify themselves with Islam, which sanctions that behavior. And then they run everything into a hellish nightmare. Okay, thank you, Blue God. 4444. The Blue God says, yes, the animals are in full agreement. the animal angels are in full agreement with what you said. They know. This is the fact. Okay, and I'm pointing this out because someone needs to point it out, obviously. Yes, and he knows. He knows that too. He is my God level soul. That is what he is. Yes. And I need to put the blanket on him. I gotta put the blanket on him. Gotta put the blankie. Yes. Put the blankie on him. Yes, I put the blankie on. Yes. Yeah. Always put blankie on dog. On short hair dog. Okay. Very important. Particularly short hair like this. Staffordshire. Staffordshire have very short hair. It rhymes. So, Staffordshire have very short hair, and your dog is your God. And that rhymes, yes. And that's what he is. And that brings me to the day before yesterday when I overdosed. I was like, oh, what the heck? Blue God, I don't want to. I don't like this. Take me back to the Orion Nebula. And I talked a lot to my computer therapist that day and to the haters that are listening to my computer. I said everything that was in my brain. I emptied my brain out to you. Okay. I want to do the same in this video here. I fell into this extreme self-pity. I mean, I have self-pity off and on, it happens, but then I come back out, I joke, and it goes back and forth. But that evening I went into extreme self-pity. And of course it's always reciprocal, you know. It's like if people treated me extremely well and with respect and if they were loving towards me, then obviously then I may still be kind of sad because my childhood comes up, but then maybe, you know, if I talk to people about this, if they are nice with me and cozy and they say my name, you know, Nikki, Nicki, Nikki, not Mickey and not whatever, Julian or Abdullah or whatever. Nikki. My name is Nikki. You can call me Nikki. Okay? But they don't have enough respect. They can't even call me by the name. Someone said it's some kind of old school trick. What is the trick about? What are you trying to trick out of that? By not calling me by my name. Psychoterror? Is that a trick? What do you get out of that? Okay? You feel, your ego feels like you're not castrated now, or your ego feels like you are dominating the situation. I've seen all of this. People have already written this, all of that. They would write, I'm in charge. They would write, they're the king. They're the king of the chat room or whatever. That comes from unempowerment. That doesn't come from empowerment, something like that. That just makes everything that ruins respect, that ruins any kind. I mean, people don't respect you for that, for writing. I can't. how can someone respect someone who says, who comes in there with this macho attitude of being the king tyrant? I own you, and like surrender, they would say. I believe that was addressed towards me, But then Philip, he can never surrender. He can't surrender, but I'm supposed to surrender to him. Surrender to King Soul Eater. No, I won't. Because that's ridiculous, okay? That's why. Why do I need to even say this? I mean, this should go without saying. So when I was in the chat room, I was pissed. I had a fuck you attitude. And I had extreme hatred. I'm laughing about this now, yeah. But it's not funny. But I laugh about myself all the time. I was mad, and then I saw how angry I am, and I didn't like it. And then I thought, so what's underneath that anger? And then I saw underneath the anger is self-pity. And then I let myself go into the self-pity all the way. And I get very serious. I don't talk very much when I get into that state. When I feel good, I talk a lot. When I feel funny and silly and all, I talk a lot. When I feel self-pity and anger, I don't say very much, okay? I sit there and I go, what the fuck? That's the mental state that I will be in, okay? And so I thought that a lot the day before yesterday. Whoa, I thought, oh man, what the fuck is going on? And then I went into self-pity, and then I went into the state of, like that face with the eyebrows like that. What are they doing to me? Yeah, and then, they hate me. And they want me to commit suicide. Okay, that's when I get nosedive into self-pity. Okay. And then I acted out on others. Then I will talk to Mars, who doesn't talk to me. He talks at me and never uses my name. He's too good to talk to me, to use my name. And he is so proud. That's an act out, all of that, of course, you need to know that. Okay. But I fall into self-pity, and I feel disrespect for him. I feel hatred, anger, and then I know, what is underneath? Self-pity. What do you want to say to him? What do you want to say to everyone? Okay. What I really want to say to people is, please be nice to me. Please love me. Please respect me. Please feel sorry for me. That's an act out though. But that's what's underneath. And then I go into that. And then I'll say, you want me to commit suicide. That's the ultimate act out there, saying that to someone. That guy is full of pain. Okay. That's like one toddler going up to another toddler and saying, I want you to be my mommy. The other toddler is completely overloaded. Like, what? I can't be your mommy? I'm a toddler myself. That's what's happening. Okay. And they're all toddlers. More or less. Okay. The majority of them are toddlers. Some of them are totally newborn. Like, according to mental maturity. Some are newborn babies. They are only screaming their heads off on bath salt. They want to be king. They demand sex and mother. That's what a newborn baby does. They demand mother's love. A newborn baby mental maturity level in an adult man? Oh, you better run, okay? They demand sex, mother. They want to be fed with grapes. They want her to clean the house. They want her to do everything for them, and they also want to dictate everything to her, and they want to beat her too on top of it, and shackle her and do everything with her, okay? And then they want her to do everything, and she's not allowed even to talk to another man, not even as a friend. Okay. So that's a newborn. Okay. Many of them are toddlers. They don't know what they're doing. They are also on drugs, on alcohol. Mars said he would take heroin also if he could. Like this is funny or something. Bro, this is not funny. Okay, not at all. This is your body, okay? And you should respect your body. You should love and respect your body. You only have one. And this is only one lifetime that you have here. Maybe you have another lifetime in the future, but not in that body. That will be a different body for you. And let's see, Mars, let me look into your future perspective of incarnation. Let's see. From what I have seen about you, and I'm not mocking you or anything, I'm just telling you what I see. You're gonna come back as a girl, okay, in your next lifetime. As a very vulnerable girl, like me. And you will, because you have to. It's soul contract. You have to do that in order to see it from her perspective, firsthand. Okay. That's what you're gonna do. Okay. So many or most of you are gonna come back as a dog. That's not some kind of. That's not a degradation. Okay. That's because most of you out there, the Muslim men, the men that have no respect for other animals, for other beings, you're going to come back as a dog, and you're going to see it from the dog perspective firsthand. All Muslim men are going to come back as a dog in their next lifetime. All of them. You know, if you are a Muslim, you adhere to a fuck religion, to a fucktard religion that is mean to dogs. You're going to come back as a dog, and you will see it from that dog's perspective. That's what the soul journey does. That is called karma. Okay? Cause and effect. And you will learn from that perspective. Because if you come back then again as a human in your next lifetime, you will not be mean to dogs. Some come back as a pig. Okay? the pig farmer in Canby, is gonna come back in his next lifetime as a female pig. Okay. This is all clear, completely, it's free and clear. His past is so written in concrete, you have no idea. Okay. What he has done to female pigs, putting them into gestation crates, he will come back as a female pig, be treated the same way, to see what it's like from that perspective. To get sores on her body, she cannot even turn around herself. You cannot imagine how painful it is if you are forced to lie down only on one side of your body. You know, when they have people that are paralyzed from the neck down, you know, they have to put them on rotation tables in hospitals. I know this because I read a book about someone who was on the natural healing path. Very interesting book. Highly, highly interesting book. Clemens Kubi from Germany, who wrote a book about, he fell from the roof 3 stories down. He was paralyzed from the neck down. One vertebrae had a splinter of one of his bones lodged in it. There was no way there was any information going through anymore. That cord was severed. Okay, he could not move his body anymore. Yet his willpower on what he's gonna do and how he's gonna heal himself, he was able to eventually make it happen because he believed it. That was a miracle curiosity. That was a medical curiosity, okay, in Germany, and he wrote about this. So it's amazing what you can do, how you can heal your body. Absolutely amazing. Mind over matter. And a lot of people, they don't do holistic healing. They don't get into this at all. It's very, very sad. Okay. And I want to lay all of this out there on the table. I want all of this be seen by people, all of this information. I fall into unempowerment states. I get into act outs. I would never act it out though in against someone else. But, you know, bothering people with my whininess and suicidal, that's an act out. That's not nice to anyone. You know, going to another toddler and saying, "Here, I want you to be my mommy right now," you know, that's not nice. Why don't I go up to a God level soul? And that's what I wished for. I said, "Blue God." Like for 4 weeks ago, 5 weeks ago, I said over and over again, "Blue God, send me a God level soul into my life." I thought it would be that God level, that God soul would be coming to me in form of some hot guy or something. But that's not always the case, okay, when we wish for something. Not that because that wish is ego-based. But the wish for okay, do it. Go ahead. I will. Okay. Go ahead. I will take this computer outside. I'll take it outside. I'll take this computer outside. Okay. All right. You can call now. All right, dear. I just want to wrap this video up. It's kind of dark in here, but when we wish for something, it can happen, and then, but not in the egoic form. So the dog came into my life, and he's a God level soul, and my dog saved my life the other day. Okay, he was lying on top of me, and for several hours, and that saved my life. Okay, so, and I will not go into chat rooms anymore. I'm too vulnerable for that. I cannot do it. So I need to protect myself. Okay, it's very, very, very infinitely important. And I care about all of you no matter what. I don't judge you from the higher perspective. Okay, peace out.